Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules and Matt Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and talk about it. And today is the first time that we're going to be talking about the anime Erased. It was suggested by somebody in the Discord, who we will not name any names, but they've been suggesting a lot of anime for us. And the way you can get an anime on this list for us to possibly watch in the future is by donating a $5 super chat on YouTube, or 500 bits on Twitch. Wherever you're watching this, you submit some monies and you can add a anime to the chest. And we have a whole lot more to go and to watch and to talk about. It gets rated over here on our list of anime for season 2 and some S tiers now, a couple of A, B, C, and F. So that's where we're at on season 2. And we're going to be adding Erased in the next couple of weeks. But I do not go on this anime journey alone. I go with my co-host, Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing today?
Oh boy, I'm sure ready to talk about more anime dealing with heavy subject matter. No, I'm doing good. This welcome back from your trip, by the way.
Oh yeah, we were gone last week.
Went and saw that eclipse.
Bro, I saw the eclipse for a while. Me and the eclipse had some friends, and then I came back and I got very sick, and I'm still kind of getting over it. I have a cough. Apparently, having a bunch of people enclosed in airplanes and stuff, some sickness gets around. Who would have thought? So I was sick for a while. So I appreciate you coming back and not leaving me.
But yeah, I'm super ready to, get into this one. I've heard a lot about Erased ever since its release, I feel like, but at its time of release, I guess I was definitely, as we've talked about before, I was more into just the shonen, the action stuff.
Yeah.
I wasn't really in a mindset to like branch out, but I always heard that it was highly regarded.
Mhm.
So I went in like tentatively. I was like, I don't want to like have like overwhelming expectations, so I tried to not really have any, but I was still I was kind of very impressed with where these 4 episodes take us.
Yeah, man, I want to talk a lot about the first episode because I think it does first episodes really well, and I kind of want to go into that whenever we talk about it. But like overall, I had heard, and I'm assuming again you didn't watch it, like you were saying. I didn't watch it before, but I have heard from a lot of people this is a highly recommended one. This is a highly recommended anime for some people. It's their favorite anime, and I'm like, I don't know. It just didn't have, like you were saying, that shonen sort of fighting style thing that I want to watch at the time, and I'm just like, I'll get to it at some point. And I'm glad we're doing it here on the podcast because now I get to talk about it and talk about what's going on 4 episodes at a time. And it's turning out to be one of, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say too early, but these first 4 episodes, it's really giving me a nice experience and one of my more favorite anime that we watched so far.
It was definitely at times because it's got that, mystery thriller murder vibe to it. And it was reminding me a lot of Psycho Pass in some ways that we watched in the first season of our show. So I was definitely getting a feeling that this would be one that you would be super into based on that, because I remember you really liking Psycho Pass.
I did, yeah. And it's also giving, because of like what's going on and the way you go back in time and stuff, some Tokyo Revengers. Really like Tokyo Revengers as well, because it's kind of like, oh my god, we're going to the past. A little different in the way they execute it here, but same sort of deal. And I'm really liking it. So let's get into episode 1. If this is your first time watching, we go through the episodes 4 episodes at a time. Well, maybe next week we're gonna do 5. No, because it's 12. Never mind. 12 episodes, 4 episodes each week. So we're going to go over the first 4 episodes of Erased, and we talk about it, discuss it, and we would love for you to watch it along with us. If it's an anime you haven't watched before, we would love for you to watch it with us. It's an incentive to get you to check out new anime, possibly see something you may not really, have checked out before
Get through
without
a
it.
watch list just at
Yeah.
a nice, easy pace and not
Yeah.
feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, have us telling you what to watch whenever you open Crunchyroll and you're like, there's so many things here. Because I get that decision paralysis too. Just say, hey, Jules and Matt are watching Erased. Let's watch that. Okay, episode 1, flashing before my eyes. What happens in episode 1?
Satoru Fujinuma is a 29-year-old mangaka finding himself saving a child from being hit by a truck one day while delivering a pizza. Waking later in the hospital to find his coworker, Adi Katagiri, telling him that she saw the whole thing and that no one else got hurt. Satoru has a strange condition that he calls the revival, allowing him to relive minutes before potential disasters strike. His mother, Sachiko, arrives to help nurse him back to health, asking him if he remembers a disaster from his year in 5th grade. Satoru recalls his older friend Yuki being arrested for the kidnapping and murder of several of his classmates. Sachiko invites Adi, I'm
Katagiri.
probably butchering that. Katagiri is probably the better way to go for it.
Yeah.
To dinner before he takes her home later that evening. Satoru recalls the guilt he felt after the last time he saw one of his classmates, Kaio Hinazuki. Sachiko grows more suspicious that Yuki wasn't the real culprit, and the same person has continued to operate to this day. Her investigation leads to a knife being drove directly into her back, Satoru passing the person who did this, then finding his mom and blooding his hands, implicating him as the culprit as Revival activates, sending him 18 years in the past to 1988.
Oh man. As a first episode, I really like it. What a great first
Nailed it.
episode. It sets it up. It gives us enough character development so we kind of understand Fujinuma. He's a little bit older. We get the juxtaposition between him and the high school girl Katagiri and how they kind of view life, how they go through life, how now he's kind of like, "Nah, here we are, whatever. Oh, my mom. So, okay, whatever. I love you." Like you can feel the love for his mom, but it is very subdued. And you could feel the love from mom to son, but it's not present forward. And
That's what helps make it feel real.
it makes it feel real, right? Because like that she loves him, but she says some things that are a little like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And that's kind of like what parents do sometimes.
Yeah, and given the context that we get by the end of the episode, you get a sense. I mean, I got a sense going back and rewatching the first episode again that she is kind of operating with like a sort of guilt where she's like kind of starting to put pieces together herself and
Yeah.
realize like I should have believed what my kid was saying. And
Mhm.
that's what I felt like was kind of like the big thing, the tragic part of her kind of having to it's what makes this story like work in a way where you feel really bad and you want to see that be resolved, but then it takes it away, giving the audience something that they are like clawing after, but the narrative is like, oh no, he's
And
no.
yeah, I definitely want to talk about the mom a little bit because for one, we get a younger looking mom and I'm like, okay, of course, like, whatever. But this is the first time that I've seen like a younger looking mom and it feels like we said earlier, it feels very real, but it also feels like she knows what's going on and she knows what she's doing. And it even gets more apparent later on in some of the things that she does in the past. And I'm like, this is a great mom character. As we've seen other parent characters that I don't think I've ever seen one parent character that has gotten like super into the light. It's always just like kind of an abstract character in the back for some laughs or something else. But
Yeah.
as a prominent character now that I know,
I would
in
say
episode,
she's a main character, not a supporting character for sure.
she is definitely a main character, but she also is the mom
Mhm.
of this person. And I love the way they're portraying that. I love the way that she is portrayed in the way that she has her own character. She has her own thoughts and she has her own things going on. She's doing her own thing and she's just kind of here with her son in this episode. And it's like, okay, this is cool. Like we have somebody that's autonomous,
Yeah.
that is not our main character, but has this special connection to the main character, and I want to see how that plays out, and it does, because we go back in the past and we get some more of her. So I really like the mom character, which is
Mhm.
really she
I love how
before
she
what
shows up
happens.
unannounced.
Yeah,
Shows up unannounced, and she's just like, "Don't worry, I'm not gonna take up space." He's like, "I only have one futon." She's like, "Oh, it's fine. Like, I'll use
yeah,
your sleeping bag." Oh, sorry, I ended up using your futon, didn't
on your
I?
futon.
It's
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
got a big old laugh out of me, and it's stuff like that that makes her so likable as a character as well, and that's what again is like the perfect thing for them to rip away from the story in the present day and then send you back with this huge, like, you have a you like this character and now you get to go back and see them in the past and you want to see him succeed so you can see this character not have to go through that being the ending of their story.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just like her character is handled very well in this episode to help provide a lot of context for his motivations as we move forward.
Yeah, man, because I was so mad. I was really mad. I was like, okay, cool, mom. Dope. This is an awesome character. And I was like, I'm ready for her
I
to get
felt it.
developed.
I felt that coming. It's the second it was when they cut away to the guy with the they cut away to the guy with the glasses that she was like suspicious of, watching them like walk home to make dinner,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna do
Something's
something to
happening.
somebody.
Yeah. Oh, let's talk about the trope that we get in this one, that the main character has something special about them.
Oh
And
sure, yeah,
in
yeah,
this
yeah.
one, it is called revival. So apparently, Fujinuma can, for some reason, against his control, he has no control of it. He just knows that it happens sometimes. He can go back between 1 and 5 minutes, and he can possibly help in some way. He said it only
It
ever
only
comes out
happens when something
neutral.
bad is about to happen.
Yeah, when something bad comes is when something bad's about to happen, and then the only way that he's fixed it is where the best possible way for him to fix it has been that it comes out neutral for everybody, and nothing gets escalated, or nothing really is good, but it gets neutral, or it comes out as bad for him.
So in
I
this initial case, we see that he gets put in the hospital, but
Yeah,
nobody else gets hurt.
yeah, and this happens a lot in anime, which is where something has the main character be super unique, and I really like that. I don't know why, I just go with it. I'm
Yeah,
really okay with it. A character has a really hard head for some reason. Okay, I'm
yeah.
cool with that. And I'm normally, just weird strength in their own way, and I'm like, okay, cool. And that helps me characterize the character a little bit more, and
Mhm.
it brings me into their world a little bit more, even though it's so outlandish, even though
Yeah.
this revival thing, just letting you guys know that this happens sometimes.
The
And
thing that I think that makes this story so unique about with its, like, we'll call it the revival of the power system. The thing that makes this power system interesting is a few things. One of them being, like you said, he has no control over it. But the second thing being that there's like the condition. It's usually 1 to 5 minutes, and the true story kicks off with that condition being broken, where it
mhm,
sends him back 18 years. And then it's
yeah,
just like, whoa. So then we, the audience, and the protagonist are now kind of like operating at the same pace in terms of like what's going on. And
yeah,
so the
because
collection of
even
information feels natural and not
mhm,
forced, where it's like, oh, well, last time I went back in the past this far, blah, 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 blah. And like
mhm.
he just should be knowing those things, but it makes sense that he would be so in the dark and not really certain that he's doing things right.
Because him knowing that it happens to me 1 to 5 minutes is usually what it is. It shows that he's done this a lot, and he's had time to analyze what's going on, and had time to sort of control how he acts and what's going on. And but by that, like you're saying, the huge jump of 18 years, it's like, whoa, we are in uncharted waters, and you are along with the ride. You, the viewer, are here because this is the first time that's ever happened to me. And now I think this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
I don't know. I could possibly help my future, but like, is there a way? Like, he hasn't even thought about, like, how is he going to get back?
That's
Or
at the end of the one of the episodes, I was like, one of two things is going to happen. He's going to go to sleep and he's going to wake up in present day, or he's going to still be a kid. And if he's still a kid, anything could still happen.
Yeah. Because he hasn't even thought about, like, well, once I do the thing, once I help Hinazuki, do I instantly go back because I stopped my mother from dying and all this stuff? Or do I have to live my life one more time in this changed timeline? And can I, hopefully possibly make it better, possibly make his life better? That's my hope for the end. So we talked about that. I want to talk about Katagiri as well, because she is an interesting character, because she's annoying to me. But it was just enough annoying for me to see the juxtaposition between Fujinuma, and for me to understand youth, I guess, what they're trying to kind of see. But like, it wasn't obnoxiously annoying because her mom or his mom really likes her. He's trying to, she's trying to set him up, says some mom stuff as usual.
Yeah,
but then we also find out like his moral compass, I guess, because he's like, yo, she's a high schooler, what are you doing? You're stupid. So I'm like, okay, cool, we got a good main character. We
have that set in stone.
Yeah, we have a good main character here. All right, dope. He's drawing the line. Good job. I know that's the bare minimum.
You're already going home. Why don't you spend the night?
Yeah, what are you talking about, bro? No. So we have Hinazuki as well, who is the one that was abducted in the past, and we just get a glimpse about what's going on. Yuki, who was his friend, who was an older person at the time, was the one that took the fall for it. He never admitted to it. He always was denying it, or what's the word? He always didn't plead guilty. He never pled guilty to it.
Always
innocent. Yeah, and we get the view of somebody with red eyes, which was very prominent with a hat.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
In episode 2, we're going to mention a little bit too.
Literally Muzan Kibutsuji with the whole nice suit and hat.
Excuse me, sir.
And the red eyes stuck out to me, and from that point, I was looking for those eyes for the rest of this viewing.
Yep, pain. So, mother's dead, and I think really Fujinuma's reaction to all of it was what really set himself apart. Like, he kind of incriminated himself the way that he was acting, but it's whatever. I mean, you're in shock, so I can't say much about it.
And before he ran away, I'm pretty sure the butterfly had already shown up. So no matter what he did, the revival had already kind of been triggered. Technically,
okay,
I think. I'm pretty sure it showed up, and then they were like, "Wait, don't run away!" And then he takes off, if I'm remembering correctly. But yeah, he it doesn't help that he walks into a pretty obvious crime scene and touches a dead body covered in blood. For the next person,
and then the neighbor
covered in blood.
Yeah,
and then the cops are just like there. That was the one thing where I'm like, wait, were they just did that guy stab her in the back and then dial 911? Hey,
right.
Stabbing over here. You guys got to get over here.
Because they were there instantly. Man? He's like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh my God, wait, hold on. What's happening
Unless
here?
That person then called the cops and he just stood there in shock for 20 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know how response times look there. Anyways, very funny to me that was the case.
And great first episode. I mean, this gives me enough. This sets up the premise really well. This gives me some characters that I really like. And as a first episode, probably one of the better ones that we've seen. I really wanted to watch more. It got me to think about what's going to happen. It gave me enough information about what could possibly be going on. Gave us a decent main character that has some likable qualities. And then now we get to see him as a kid and go through life and try and solve this murder, abduction.
The other thing I do totally like the cinematography of this first episode. The way it goes from full screen to the letterbox shot. That was crazy. That was
animation. Animation is really good. Like in this shot right here, it looks fantastic. What the hell? This looks so good. Cinematography so good in this anime so far, and I really like it. So Episode 1, great first episode.
Mhm.
Episode 2, palm of the hand. What happens in episode 2?
Satoru accommodates himself by running home and falling asleep in his childhood bedroom until his mom returns home from work. Then, appreciating the time he has with her due to the events of the present, Satoru realizes Hinazuki's presence with his friends, beginning to tease him uh, over her. Getting a moment alone with Hinazuki, Satoru realizes that more is going on under the surface with her. Kenya, one of Satoru's childhood friends, tells the rest of the friends to chill on mocking him about Hinazuki and tells Satoru to go read her log in the student compendium, which he goes on to do. Satoru knows where to find her and goes to look for her in the park, where she acknowledges that they are both liars and put on shows. Satoru invites her to his birthday party before he declares that he won't let her be left alone in the park in this timeline. It's not gonna happen again.
We get an intro in this one.
We get the intro.
This
the intro song. It was really good. I didn't
song
skip it once.
slaps.
It
No,
was
it
really
didn't.
good. Yeah.
No, we didn't skip it because I was like, I want to hear the song again, and I was like,
Yeah.
just jamming. Intro song is cool. I love in the intro animation just the kids being kids, and I think they do kids really well. Like I think the opening animation stuff really shows like just them being carefree, being kids, and I really like that. I mean, we see in the opening shot it's him as an older person, then him as a little kid just bouncing around and doing stuff. Love the animation in the actual intro, and the song is a banger. So A plus on the intro song and all that. And it was a not skip. Do not skip the intro. Revived to 18 years ago, and a lot of this stuff, a lot of the stuff with his mom was sort of like bringing stuff up in myself. Like I don't know why it felt like I felt like really attached to him now getting a second chance with his mom, and him
Yeah.
knowing that, man, I let this slip by. Like there really were some good times, and I don't remember that, and I don't see that, and it all got clouded by other stuff.
Yep.
But man, she really does love me. She's making me food, and she's making sure I'm good, and like I was like, man, and I started thinking about it. I was like, man, there are a lot of times where I was trying to think of like the good times for me. I was like, man, there were a lot of good times where people were just caring about me, and I was started like being nostalgic and reminiscing about like my childhood.
Yeah.
And it was really cool because
when he walks home and he opens up the door to his childhood home that he probably hasn't been at since he like moved out in the present day, and it's like it's his childhood home. It's not like he's walking back to somewhere where everything's moved around. He's stepped back in time and is like present there. So yeah, that nostalgic feeling that it stirs up is I think definitely intentional.
because like I picture myself like if I were to go back to my child, like try to picture myself going back as in his situation, going back as a kid, opening up the door, the smells, and how he looks at his little mask there, and it's like, oh, that's probably his toy that he really liked, or
Yeah.
he really asked for at the mall or something. And I'm like, man, like if I walked in and I saw all my Power Rangers on the wall, and going back to my childhood home, I'm like, man, that's crazy. Like I just feel a lot of emotion. So I'm like, I'm there with him, and I feel really connected for some reason to Fujinuma, just because I don't know, it was just really cool, and it was really well played. I really like that stuff.
Yeah, and I like the moment of like when he's like saying that, like, I forget what he says that triggers it, but they're still at the table, and then her response is like, you don't have to cry over it. Like, and he doesn't even realize there's just tears pouring down his face. And he's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. And I think it's
Ugh.
the moment that he realizes that like he has to do something to save her. Like
Mhm.
he's not gonna let the reality he was in become the true reality.
And he's like thanking her for every meal, and like she notices like there's a difference here, like what's going on, what are you doing, but he's just being a little bit better of a kid. And as what's his name? Yuki notates later. He's like, "Oh, you seem a little bit more mature. Like, what's going on with you? You've changed. You seem to have changed." Um, so we get the scene. We get some more Hinazuki into the fold. We actually see who Hinazuki is. We get some more interaction between our main character and Hinazuki. And when that actually happens, she says, "You and I are both fakes.
Fakes
You and
and
I both
liars.
are sort of putting on a show for people." And it was really interesting. And where that goes, we'll talk about that when it happens. But one big thing that did happen that kind of threw me, and I was like, um, when we get a close up of Kenya, who's one of his friends,
Mm-hmm.
and we get a close up of Kenya, and I notated here that he has red eyes. So this is the
Yep.
first character that we see after we see the person with the red eyes with the hat kill his mother. It's the first time we see a character that has red eyes. So I'm instantly like,
Yep.
oh my God, what is this about? What's going on? So
But then
did you catch that?
I did catch that. But also at this point, we've had the introduction of their teacher,
Mm-hmm.
who also like, I don't know if he had red eyes, but his like demeanor and the way that he's always cast in shadows, like he's always in a half shadow.
So you're getting some vibes off the teacher too. I
The
think
teacher's
Kalen
giving
was giving
something.
me vibes. I wasn't
The
getting any
teacher's
vibes from him.
no, the teacher's giving. It's again, it's like it's he could be a red herring. He could be the intentional red herring that me and her are both catching on to. But I think that they want us to they're trying to make him be that, like, you know, on the surface he just totally what was it in the Kisniver that we just watched, the something normal guy, you know what I mean? Like he's that
Okay.
cynic. He's trying to put off that everything's just
Yeah.
all fine, but he's also he's got nefarious things going on. And
There were
the fact that he keeps there's like a breakaway. I don't know if it's this or next episode. I think it's next episode, but I'm gonna mention it now. The breakaway where it like shows the teacher in a room talking to a student who's we only get to see their back, and I'm pretty sure it's Kenya
Mhm.
because in yeah, I'm getting way too far
But
ahead of myself.
no,
I'm sorry.
but that I okay, so but I thought that was them getting the birthday party set up. So I thought he had an alibi. He was talking to Kenya because
Yeah, I know.
Kenya was like,
It's just weird vibes that I feel
okay,
like there's more
okay.
going on underneath the surface with them.
Yeah, because at the end of episode 4, they're like, "Oh my God, how did y'all set this up?" It's like, "Oh well, the teacher put these two characters to go do that duty so that we can have time to do that." So I thought that's
Yeah.
what it was, but there are definitely some spots where he is, and Kalen does say there were weird vibes from him. I wasn't really getting it. I was getting it more, obviously from the mom and stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I want to hope that the teacher has good intentions because of some stuff that happens in a
Yeah,
episode
I
coming up.
want to hope that he turns out to be like the Cerberus Snape character, you know,
Sure.
where the whole time he's just given off this like, even though it because even though in this story this character is giving off a much more positive energy, like I just feel that something's going on underneath the surface with him that we're not getting to see the whole part of.
Sure.
And
And
like it could be, but you know that like what the thing that is mind-boggling about that is yeah, they introduce all these characters that could be potential culprits, and I'm just like I'm waiting for it to be like, oh, it's all of them. Now I have to hate all these characters.
yeah.
Like there's actually some
Well,
conspiracy that they're all hooked up with.
yeah, the
Hooked up
main thing
in.
that I saw Kenya with the red eyes, and there are some lingering shots of him as well. Like
Yep.
there are some lingering shots where he's just looking at Fujinuma, and it's just like,
And
what do you
even Fujinuma acknowledges that like he was always the smart one.
yeah.
And just like in another show about kids surviving deadly situations, The Promised Neverland, Ray was the double agent from the start,
Yeah.
and he was the smart one. So I'm just
Mm.
saying the Ray vibes are there, where it's like, dude, you're putting up a front. You're the
Kenya
double
has the Ray
agent.
vibes.
You're the
Yeah.
double agent.
Oh man. Oh, I don't know. We're still yeah, Kenya does have Ray vibes now that you brought it. Definitely. Another cool little quirk that I picked up on and I really like about our main character is that whenever he says some stuff out loud, when he means to just talk, he's just a fun little character. I
Yeah,
love when he's just like when his when he's talking in his inside head voice because it's his older version, and then his inside head voice and his kid voice say the same thing at the same time. Do that
great.
20 million more times. I love that. I love that shit. Keep it coming. This is the first time where I was like, that's so funny. He's like,
And
oh, I said it out
everybody
loud.
always just has that. Like, did he really just say that reaction?
Yeah.
The
Hmm.
pause. The pause always gets me.
Bubsy says, ugh, Erased was a surprise find when it came out. Oh, when did it come out? I don't even know what year it came out.
2016,
Okay.
it
It still
was.
looks great. It
Yeah.
looks fantastic. Really like it. But yeah, that's one little quirk. Another little quirk that I really like about the main character because he does it a lot going forward as a kid, where his voice, inside voice, is saying the same thing as his kid voice, and he's like, "Oh my god," and I'm like, "Oh my god, what did you say? What are you doing?" Great little funny thing that happens, and I love it every time. Episode
Um,
3.
episode 3. Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
I was just gonna say, I also just really like, yeah, going off of that when it's just him and oh my god, I'm forgetting her name, Hinazuki,
Hinazuki.
at the park at the end, and then he says something that like makes her smile, and he's like just with the full on like full on shock face.
Oh my
It
god,
just is hilarious. Like the physical comedy is here, even
that
though
face.
the physical comedy is here, even though it's a show that makes you laugh and cry, and that's great.
Yeah, it's so
I'm
good.
not only crying, even though it is heavy subject matter, and there
Oh
are a lot of
man,
tears, but I'm laughing a lot too, and that's
yeah.
great. There's a good balance.
Yeah, man. I definitely want to talk before we get through episode 3. One overarching thing so far, I love the pacing of this show so far. So we only watch episode 1 through 4, but so far I haven't felt like there's been a lull or it's going too fast. I don't feel like there's any scenes that are not necessary. I really like all the little kid, even though the little kid scenes where they're all hanging out as little kids and they're just talking or whatever and like teasing and all that stuff. Like I don't.
There's still something that's pushing the plot forward in those scenes.
Yeah, and I don't feel like it ever loses time with me, or even if it's giving me too much information or it's going too fast. I feel like it's just a perfect pacing so far.
I feel like it's perfect pacing for the genre specific that it's going for. The dramatic crime thriller like
Yeah.
style. I think it's perfectly paced for that because it's giving us a good flow of information where we're kind of like being given the pieces of a puzzle to put together this mystery again alongside the protagonist, and we're here kind of talking about the red eyes, this and that. We're trying to put the pieces on the board so we
Mhm.
can connect all those lines, and I'm just curious to see if like at any point before the final revelation, if there will be a point where it's like, oh, I definitely could have connected that and and I could have answered it
And then
myself.
it
Like,
gets
I
you
want
to
that.
rewatch it.
Yes.
And you want to rewatch
As
it
long as
again
that
knowing
connective
that.
thread is there that like makes me believe that I could have solved the mystery myself at some point, this is going to be like a super satisfying watch for me.
Yeah.
But if it loses that thread at any point where I'm like, it's become, and that can happen with time travel stuff, but I feel like, this show has the benefit over something like Tokyo Revengers, where this one's just going for that. It's going all the way back and then long shotting it all the way through. Tokyo Revengers kind of like breaks its time travel segments, and that
Mhm.
makes um the canon. I'm trying to think of the proper word, but I'm losing it. It
Yeah.
makes it harder to keep things narratively sound when you're doing that, and
Mhm.
it makes it harder for the audience to keep things mentally like lined up in the
And
timeline.
and I do like this. I feel like this is better and more coherent for me. Just staying in the past. Here we are. We're gonna try and fix this one thing, and I really like that. Episode 3, birthmark. What happens in episode 3?
A skiing event in the schoolyard leads Satoru to have deja vu, now worrying his actions aren't actually changing anything. Hinazuki is able to tell that Satoru gave up in the race and is let down that he lied to her. Satoru discovers that they share a birthday and later meets up with his old friend Yuki. Satoru doesn't believe that the present day Yuki is guilty and wants to save Yuki as well. Later, Satoru finds Hinazuki in a shed outside of her house where her mother intimidates her into lying about her physical abuse. Satoru reporting this to his class teacher, who explains the mother is good at covering it all up, but things are definitely going on and in process to find her guilty. Satoru stands up for Hinazuki during a prank on her, then taking her up to the mountain to show off a huge tree with a clear night sky, all stars to see.
And she finally
And we
smiles.
got a
Look at
smile.
her. It's so good. So something that I wasn't even thinking about happens in this episode for the first time, and this brought my brain to break a little bit because I was like, okay, here we are. He's gonna do the race. He says he's gonna beat this kid, but he's like, no, I shouldn't beat this kid because this kid practices every day. And I thought it was just him, knowing his body, being the 29-year-old, he knows how to run or ski better or whatever. Or what is
Yeah,
it called?
like
Ice
muscle
skate.
memory, so
Muscle
to speak.
memory that he
Yeah,
can
sure.
ice skate better than this kid. So I thought it was him, and it was his new memory of like, oh, maybe I should, let this kid win because I am better now after all this time. But then he gets the flashback. I'm like, wait, what's going on? And it's like, wait, I did this the first time. And I was like, oh shit. I didn't even think about like him retreading the same stuff because you would think that you would remember a lot of this stuff as a kid. But now, like me thinking about it more, I was like, okay, he's, what is he, 10 years old now? Do I remember every day of every event of everything that I did when I was a kid? No. And I am a little bit older than him, but I was like, yeah, you're right. Like maybe I did some stuff and I wouldn't remember that was the line that I took it. And I was like, fuck, I didn't even think about him possibly the timeline being stayed the same because of the decisions that he makes that he thinks are unique to him now, but they were the same decisions that he was making back then. And I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. So really cool revelation for me as a watcher. I was like, I didn't even think about that. I
Yeah,
didn't even think that he could be traveling down the same timeline
me either.
and not change anything.
It's like one of those things where it's everybody has that mental image of the parallel universe theory or whatever. Is it like a two universes that are operating at a time, or is there constantly branching, like every universes every time different decisions are made, yada yada yada. So it definitely pulls into question where this lies with that, because he's obviously done a lot of things different since he's come back, including having the mind of a 29-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's still going to be making the same mistakes that he made 18 years prior, how much growth has he actually had in that amount of time? How much did those mistakes actually stick with him for him to learn from?
Mm-hmm.
So how much did those mistakes actually matter? The ones that he doesn't remember is what I'm saying, I guess.
I
Like,
don't know.
who won in the ski race? Like, what doesn't matter? But then it's like, it matters now more than it probably did then, because in this timeline's context, he lied to Hinazuki saying that he was
Mm-hmm.
going to try his best and go the fastest he
And
could,
she knew.
which he obviously, to her, gave up on at the very last
Mm-hmm.
second.
Claire says that is a pretty evil looking tree, if you ask me. The sort of tree you make blood sacrifices to the old gods under. Very true. It looks really pretty though.
And Eldritch.
Yeah, I really liked it. Christmas in
The
what
tree
was it?
The tree starts moving. Roll for initiative.
Yeah. So we find out that Hinazuki isn't the only one that goes missing as well. We see the pictures of two other girls from the future that did actually end up going missing. And Caitlin pointed out that one of the girls was the one that was hanging out with them. That the picture was one of the characters that was hanging out with them that didn't go to the birthday party, but was another auxiliary character that may have already been abducted. because we don't see them at the birthday party unless they weren't just, super close friends.
Uh,
I don't know if I caught that.
27. Screenshot 27. Is it one of them?
Yes, the one on the far right.
Really?
I think.
Okay.
Possibly.
I
don't
didn't
know.
notice that. That's a if that's fact, that's a crazy catch. Those images like blinked by me.
Uh-huh. I really liked it. Says Jules sharpening his knife and smiling lopsidedly at Matt. Oop. Oop. I really liked it. But yeah, that there are some other girls that are getting kidnapped eventually, maybe before, we don't know, but our real, change here would be for Inazuki, because she is the one that he remembers. Kaylin said they were at the birthday party. I was saying he didn't have friends at the party when he was a kid. Oh, I thought you meant that when we looked at the picture of the 3 girls that got abducted, one of the kids was one of his friends. Okay, I misinterpreted then. I don't know. Whatever. I'm dumb. So we have the development of what's been going on. Wait, yes, it was. Oh, well then.
So both things are true.
Both things are true. Both things can be true. We get the development of her mother, who is an evil person, and we get him finding her in the shed. A lot of bruises. Her mom being kind of shitty, and it's just
hard to watch.
It just sucks. I mean, yeah, it is very hard to watch because, like, what can a kid do knowing this? And
exactly.
I mean,
even him in that situation, like when there's an adult there and he in the body of a child, the mind of a 29-year-old, he starts to ball up his fist like this lady's responsible for it. And before he can do anything, like she like shoved him to the side like he was a fly on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
She did not even acknowledge his presence. She has no shame over what she's doing.
No.
Which just makes her that much more. I don't know if that makes her more dislikable or not. If she were to at least have some shame over that. And like
I think the thing that I hated the most was that she knows to beat her on Saturday so that she can fix her face by Monday.
Yeah.
Which
like,
is so that's wild and like so evil, really. Just like pure evil. No matter what you're going through in life, I guess it just really sucks to see, because that's happening somewhere, and that really feels real, and it just makes you feel really bad seeing this. But he does what he knows he could do. Oh, before that, talking about his mom or her mom and the boyfriend that was there on the couch, husband. I doubt it's a husband. Maybe boyfriend. I doubt that's his.
He had a red eye.
He had red eyes, and she has red eyes too.
They all have red eyes.
So everybody.
So that's definitely. I feel like that's just the show's way of like giving you all of these culprits, all of these suspects, and being like, but who's the real one? But it's like, they could all be red herrings. They could all be in on it. I don't know. The show hasn't given me enough to put together a solid conclusion. But I definitely, again, the pictures are on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Just need to connect.
We're just like connecting the dots here. Yo, what's up, Cosmo? Hello on Twitch. Cosmo, the hair's gone. My hair is all gone. It's all done. We're out of here. My money is still on Jules being behind it all. Don't look at my eye color. Do not look. Do not perceive. Maybe it was me this whole time. Hello, Cosmo. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. So the teacher knows, and does the teacher still give you vibes in here? I feel like he was genuinely trying to help. Like he knows about it.
Like outside of the classroom when he's talking to Satoru here, it's not giving the same vibe, but I can't say that he's scot-free in my book.
Oof. Okay.
It's one of those things where it's like I don't know, like it's just
because really, what can a teacher do? He can only do so much, and if the he told him what he was doing, he's like, well, every time we had somebody go over there, they were gone, and we did try to get this done, but she's really good at hiding it all. So I feel like he has good intention. And I don't have any weird vibes from him. That's me.
I don't know, man.
You
That's
just
why.
don't like
That's
his
why I'm saying
face.
in this scene, no bad
Yeah.
vibes. But I can't say he doesn't wholly not have bad vibes.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I don't know. I
Hold
don't know,
on.
man. I just everybody is a suspect right now.
Uh-huh.
Maybe if he'd maybe if the cinematographers would have given him some more light in those previous introduction scenes, I wouldn't have thought so negatively about him. Because again, it's like again, lighting is a big thing. Lighting is
Yeah,
symbolic,
sure.
and it's like the whole half of him in the light, half of him in the dark. I don't know. I don't trust that guy. But why you need to be in shade? What's the shade
Yeah.
for? The shade's for
Which
hiding.
I don't feel anything from him, but we'll see. Well, I
We'll
mean,
see.
anybody's
Yeah.
a suspect. Everybody's a suspect. I'm getting boop, 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 boop. I'm getting an update from our lady on the floor, my girlfriend here, and she has sent me a picture of the 3 girls that end up missing. And that's what I was doing right now. Thank
Oh,
you so
look at
much.
that.
So
Yeah, the
I
one in
think
the
the girl,
middle,
yeah, the
right?
one in the middle is what'd you say, 27? I think that's the one on the far right.
That's
I'm
the
almost
same
certain.
haircut. Looks like
Yeah,
the same haircut.
so
Yep, yep. Did he
eventually,
forget?
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why are you focusing on this one when if you did know this other girl? So confirmed possibly that they are friends at some point, and she does get abducted at some point. So I mean, he's forgotten a lot of stuff. It's been showing that he's forgetting a lot of stuff, which is weird. But they just flashed that on the screen really quick, and I was like, and Caitlin was like, "Isn't that?" And I was like, "I don't know." That's us watching the show.
I definitely didn't catch it because my eyes were focused on Hinazuki for sure.
Sure, definitely.
Because
We
that
also see,
the whole exposition bit that's it's giving the context to the fact that he's like, oh, she was only 10, everybody else was 11, so that means she was unalive before her birthday. So I need to find out her birthday in order to know what the like X day is.
mhm.
And then oh, it's we share the same birthday, and that's where he started to fall into the complacency that like, oh, if I get her past X day, that means everything will be okay, which he does just to wake up the next day,
Mm.
which we'll get into right now.
Yeah, sure. Kaylin says that's why I think he wasn't as close to the other kids when he was young. So the first time around, maybe he wasn't as close to all the other ones, so he doesn't really remember that having that friend now. But they are getting closer as a group. I don't know. I hope they do talk about it, and I hope that's something that's brought up later. Kenya was talking to the teacher as we talked about already. Kenya has discussions, and at first I was like, "What's going on?" But then he has an alibi there. Definitely in episode 4, we see that it could be because of this other thing that's happening in episode 4. She ends up smiling, and we have the elder tree here, and it looks beautiful. What happens in episode 4? Accomplishment. What happens?
Satoru asked his mother, Sachiko, for money to take Hinazuki on a date, then having to ask her mother, who denies and accuses both of them of being perverts. Sachiko steps in just as Hinazuki's mother was about to strike her. While on their date, Satoru does his best to change his timeline from his deja vu memories. He remains steadfast that everything is going to plan with saving Hinazuki. They spend their shared birthday amongst friends, where Hinazuki expresses her gratitude to everyone. Satoru takes Hinazuki home, where she promises to finish the gift. However, the next day at school, she would be absent as her promise goes unfulfilled.
Oh my
And I start
god.
crying.
Dude,
Again.
when his mom is the favorite character. The mom, I'm about to put on the end card here because I love the mom so much,
I
dude.
think that'd be deserved.
Yeah, if anything, the mom's going up there because I loved her and I love how she stopped the other mom. Oh my god, such a wild scene that this was gonna happen in front of the kid, and she was like, "You sure about that? You sure about that? What's going on?" And it's so good. Love that she stopped her and she gives her some words and she kind of understands. And they have this sort of, conversation like you kind of know what's going on, right? And she's like, "Yeah, I mean, what I don't know. I don't know what I can do. You know what I mean? But we're gonna try and figure something out. And I like that. I like her development here, even in the past, is fantastic, and I'm really liking her character. He's having some deja vu of how it went the first time, how he might have met her, how he went alone, and he might have met up with her on accident. And he's again scared that he's riding the same timeline. That last time he met her by chance, and it's might be going the same way, and he might not actually be making any difference. But when his friends show up, it is timeline changed because now he has this group of friends that are there with him. And she seems fine, and she seems good, and she has some happiness in her. Uh, they have a birthday cake, and they have two birthday cakes. They have a birthday party for everybody. She's invited. They have a good time. Man, it's all going so well. I'm like,
Yep.
episode
And
4,
that's where
boom,
I'm just like, my fists were raised at the screen, bro. I was like,
boom.
I'm ready to fight. Like, you're gonna do something. You're
I
gonna
was,
you're gonna try to hurt me.
yeah. I was like, episode 4, we're doing this. We're done early. Oh man, this anime is all wrapped up, fine in a little bow. There we go, episode 4.
I know, right?
So
Right when she said that, like, everybody, thank you, I'm so grateful, blah blah blah. I was like, beep. Like, and that's the show.
yeah, like, all right, we changed the future. We did it. Everybody survives. Nothing bad happens. But
Something's gotta happen.
he walked her home. She was fine when he got home, or when she was fine when he dropped her off. And he instantly fell asleep when he got home, and he didn't pick her up uh, from school to take her to school as he normally does. He was a little bit late. He was almost tardy, but she wasn't there. And now I assume is where we get into the bigger thing that's going to happen, because I feel like now he messed up here, but where does it go from here? Because now if she is kidnapped, if she's under the snow, if she's dead, or we don't even know. Um or if she's just beaten by her mother.
She's just like episode 4. This Hinazuki's on the cover, on the artwork for the show,
Yeah.
and I just feel like episode 4, like, hey, if they do it, that's ballsy of you, but I feel like episode 4 would be pretty early to take out one of the two cover characters. So it does pose a very interesting quandary where it's like, where do we go from here? And I want it to be like some sort of crisis averted, where it feels compelling and it feels like there's long-standing impact on the story. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm very interested to see where it's going to go from here, I guess.
Does he have to save her for his mother to survive? Because he can, even if he ended up missing his time, he ended up missing it. She's already kidnapped. She's already dead. Is it still possible he has 2 other chances because they kidnapped 2 other girls?
Mm-hmm.
And does he have 2 other chances to possibly save the other 2 / take down the actual person that's doing it and give them up to the police and do all that stuff? So I think necessarily she can be dead and he still have the outcome that he needs to, but
Sure.
it would just suck because I really liked her.
Yeah,
I
and
really
there's a lot of
Hinazuki.
emphasis on her, with the whole, him, the last day he saw her in the park, and then the news broke, and then he was like, I could have just asked her if we wanted to walk home. I could have just asked her, and she'd be alive. So there's a lot of emphasis on all of that, and I feel like he said, he really, in my book, was doing a lot of things that were like he was acting with a lot of intent, and it was very like compelling to see him try so hard, because I think in a way, like, it starts off with like, I'm going to save this girl because saving this girl is going to save my mom.
Mm-hmm.
But somewhere along the way, he's now actually taken to being like Hinazuki's protector. He doesn't want anything to happen to her. He truly cares about her. Somewhere along the way, that's happened. And I don't want to see that her have to be removed from the story because this shows actually some allegory for fate, and that you actually can't change the way that things are, and that everything's set in stone. Because to me, that's what that would mean. Because he's done some pretty drastic things where it's like even all I love the the kids all around him. They all say it several times. They're like, "Dang, Satoru's ballsy."
Yeah,
they keep saying it like,
like
kids
whoa,
don't usually like have that much, just like
and they're
chest
just holding
out.
hand, they're just holding
Yeah,
hands or something.
yeah. I mean, sure, some do, especially in whatever. But it's the narrative is acknowledging it. That's what I mean to say. That
Hmm.
he is acting completely different from like any like sense of normalcy. So for things to just fall directly back into how they were before would be exactly the opposite of the direction I want to see the show going. And I think it would be a disservice to the narrative. And with excuse me, and with how many good things I've heard about this show, I don't think that's the direction it's going to go, with her just like, oh no, she got kidnapped and she's dead again.
Hmm.
That
But
would
here's the
that'd
thing.
suck.
Yeah, that would suck for sure.
I think it's
But
going to be, yeah. Go ahead.
no, but I definitely am afraid as well that
I'm
because
nervous.
the more I think about it is that like no, well, no, she doesn't actually have to survive for his mom to die or mom to stay alive. But it would be nice if they end up, him living. My big prediction at the beginning, 4 episodes in only, is that somehow he saves her. He never comes back to the future, and they end up living their lives together. And his mom's alive, and he has this whole new life. And he sees Katagiri again one time. He's like, "Oh man, I remember you from the past, and here we are. But I have this, Hinazuki now, and we are together, and we're gonna forge this life, and we stay together this whole time." That's my hope for what happens. There's a lot to go though, so that's what I'm thinking of. Matt,
Everything's pain.
when you're not getting revived 18 years into the past, where can everybody find you on the internet?
Sometimes I stream on my Twitch. If you want to follow me there, Matt_Galley. You could also follow me on my other socials. Just add an ITS at the front. Make it's Matt_Galley. When we're not here getting erased memories and living through deja vu, trying to change timelines, where can the people find you?
You could find me on YouTube, youtube.com/JulesTheHuman. If you're watching on Twitch, I don't stream on Twitch anymore. I stream on YouTube. So on Fridays and sometimes on Sundays, I stream video games on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button for this video because it helps it out. If you want to see all our links, it's in the YouTube description. All the links for that. We have done a ton of anime already. We've done a ton of anime. This is Erased. This is the first time we're watching and talking about Erased. Next Wednesday, we are going to be watching and talking about episode 5 through 8, or whatever it is,
5, 6,
five
7,
through
8.
yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever the next 4 chunk of Erased. And we would love for you to watch it along with us. Watch it, talk with us in the chats, and we would love for you to watch that as well. If you haven't watched the anime before, if you're rewatching it, we would love your thoughts and all that stuff. Jules, when the police come for you, where will they find you? On my YouTube channel, youtube.com/JulesTheHuman. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. But again, I don't stream on Twitch anymore. If you're watching on Twitch, I I left. I'm
Yeah.
gone.
I
But you
don't
can
stream on
also.
Twitch anymore either. Let's
Oh
be
yeah,
real.
Matt doesn't stream on Twitch. Uh,
I decided, yeah, I'm in the process of building a new gaming PC. So
oh,
once
cool.
that happens, I think streaming on Twitch is gonna be happening.
Kaylin says, "Love the new setup,
Yeah,
Matt."
the new setup has compelled me to build a PC worthy of the setup.
Nice, very cool. How many RGBs are you gonna have?
Dude, there's gonna be so many RGBs.
Find us on all the things. All the links are in the YouTube descriptions. This is where the podcast is. You can watch the podcast live on Wednesdays on my YouTube channel. It gets uploaded on Fridays to the YouTube channel on the videos tab and on Spotify. So if you want to watch it on Spotify, you just look up the Jules and Matt Anime Hour, as you see right here. and it is on Spotify. You can watch there as well. So yeah, next week, the next 4 episodes of Erased, watch those before next week, and we're going to talk about them. We'd love for you to hear your thoughts. So
Ooh.
see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.